Hello, and welcome to another FHIR for Developers tutorial video. My name is Gino Canessa. Today we are doing some quick setups on local test servers. And this particular video is on the IBM test server. Again, we're just grabbing different open source servers that we can play with, ones that have been requested or popular. So at that, let's jump right in. As with most of these, I'm just going to start by, and again, there'll be links in the GitHub. But for this case, I do like to show how we get there. So we're just going to do a search for IBM FHIR Server Docker, because that's always the easiest way to make sure we're finding something we can run locally. And we can see here this first one is some sort of news article or something, but their second one is GitHub, and that's always great. So if we scroll past the source code, we can see some general information and then running it. And we can grab a zip file and do installation and everything else, but simplest is the Docker image. So following this link, we can see they have FHIR R4 and a single command to start it up. So we can come back and paste this into our computer that has Docker installed. And we can see that it, in this case, obviously on your machine, first time you run it, it will need to download the images and everything else. Here I have them already downloaded, but there were no containers actually running or anything like that. And we can see that it's setting up endpoints, some Open API stuff that they've been working on, bulk import-export web app, the FHIR Server API, and everything else. If we look in Docker, we can see that they are mapping port 9443, and we can go ahead and check to see, let's see, FHIR Server is ready to run a smarter planet. Outstanding. So if we go ahead and grab Postman, for instance, we can see that the URL we wanted, there we go, is this instance 9443, and that port is being mapped forward. So we can just grab localhost 9443, FHIR Server API, and these are HTTPS by default. And then we can just grab the metadata. And while that takes a second to run the first time, because everything's internally spinning up still, in theory, hopefully, as the FHIR server is ready to start, and we have sent our request for API metadata. Interesting. It wasn't fully up yet. The web app started, and there we go. Perfect. So again, you do have to actually watch and make sure that things are up and running before you try to use them. So in this case, we can see we got back our capability statement as expected. We can see some of these extensions. We can see this is, in fact, the IBM FHIR server running as I'm recording this video. We have the version information, the FHIR version, everything else. So again, we can look at it here in Docker as well, and you can see that everything's here. You can grab your CLI to it and everything else if you need. But that's it. Again, just a couple minutes here, and you can see we have our local FHIR server for testing development open. I think I did miss. You do also want to note for all of their configuration, they have all this documented here on this same page. See, I tried to wrap up too early. But they have all the different configuration options, how to do the ports, configuring the key store, authorization, data stores, everything else. So if this is the FHIR server you're interested in, there's a lot of things that you can do to set the configuration in Docker before you take the leap and need to actually clone the repo and figure out how to get everything running there, or download the release and install it there. I personally like Docker because you can switch back and forth between all these very quickly. But there you go. So there's the IBM FHIR server running locally for testing and development. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And if not, we will see you next time. Cheers.